Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to this video. Today I want to talk about this spiritual guide on how to meet your manifestational truth. The trick is to be yourself. Like, that's pretty much the only pointer you need. But then you're like, okay, I'm always myself. Like, how do I do this? What's going on? What are you talking about? Well, if you're truly yourself, there's nothing more you desire and you're flying just high on your state. And you can kind of think outside of the box, like, if there's something you need, you don't really need it, but you will go after it just because you like it. For example, you want to buy something new, you want to get something new, and or you don't exactly know what it is, and you just want to go on this adventure of finding something new to buy or to get. That's what I mean with there's nothing more you desire, but you can still kind of evolve your wanting and your adventures and your will, let's say. So there are some exceptions, but you can pretty much realize this from anywhere you are. So this is what we're going after in the first place. We're not going after getting that super yacht right away and getting like $50 million in your bank account and such. We're not doing that right away. We want to make sure we feel the same way as if we're having those things. So uh, you can pretty much realize this from anywhere you are. You probably want to go after an environment where you really feel at home and where you really feel comfortable. But yeah, that's the initial thing you want to do. You want to go into an environment where you really feel comfortable being yourself. For example, when you meditate, you're really yourself, and that helps to ground yourself as well. So that could be good. Or you could like enjoy watching videos or streams, but you want to be kind of aware that you're still crafting with who you are and what you want to be and what you want to have. You're still kind of crafting with that. That's the kind of the notion you want to keep in the back of your head. You're still busy doing uh this spiritual practice right here, because this is the spiritual practice that has proven for me to work. I will give some examples later on what really worked for me, and I have some examples on my YouTube already if you're interested in those. So you could be more critical and demand greater changes, but this is not initially suggested, as you will want to get to your position of power first and not distract yourself with heavy change until you're ready for it. Yeah. For example, if you have some physical illness, you don't want to I mean, you want to get rid of that right away, but you know that's not going to happen right away. But you can get in better states of mind, and you can actually activate your body to be in a better position to repair yourself. For example, if you're in a better mood, it's proven that it helps to kind of create this placebo effect of actually uh, re- regenerating your body, for example. Okay, so one is first make sure you align with your future self, your current self, and your past self. This means you want to feel present and human. So you don't necessarily want to get too high minded initially because it's kind of unstable. If you're not that grounded and you go high minded right away, you're not that stable. So you kind of want to align with your future components as well as your present components as well as your past components, because it's kind of inevitable that time becomes an illusion at some point, right? Because we have so much time left in the universe, and even if there is nothing beyond the universe, it's likely that things are already manifesting in another timeline or another time period in this universe, because it's just so likely that technology will get so advanced and life will get so advanced that it will just do that. So that's already going to step two, actually. So I need to take a step back here. So, what does it mean to make up your identity at this present point in time? I suggest you go with the basic of making your body feel good, present, and towards the feeling of being able to take action. So, towards the feeling of being able to take action, but actually relaxing in who you are and being content with who you are, and just kind of getting this focus or attention span with the practice of this exercise in mind. Like, we actually want to get in tune with who we are and who we want to be as well. So who we are and who we want to be kind of becomes the same thing if you're higher minded, but that's kind of looking forward because we're now at step one, just relaxing and getting towards the feeling of being able to take action. So not necessarily taking action yet, but I already described here, mind you, taking action in this sense means changing your interpretation and emotional stance or shifting your entire psyche even to create better results. So this is for me like the most benign and most comfortable way to go about changing my experience. So you can choose whatever you want to rely on. Is it your future self? Is it a god deity? This is step two, by the way. Or some invention in future self of your future self, like a time machine, for example? Or do you simply believe in a form of presence for yourself at any point in time? These are examples of what's going on in my mind, but I think we can get much more creative. So yeah, it helps. I'd say it helps to really rely on the future because the future just holds so much potential. Like eventually we're gonna get so creative and we're gonna get so out of this universe. Let's say we're already creating like these insane supercomputers, etc., quantum computers, to really interact with this universe as if it's not even existent, like as if it's like this imaginary thing we can manipulate and work with. So I'd say in the future we even get more of those inventions, and it really helps to tap into those future flows, and you kind of want to get into this time flow of these future entities and these future people, let's say, giving off their emotions and uh, their time flow, let's say, their flow in time, because I think we're already experiencing some kind of time travel, and this is kind of my stance. You can obviously make up your own stance or create your own stance, whatever works for you, but this has proven to be working for me. So yeah, I choose to attune to the future self, but I have to often get set back a little bit and remind myself that I'm also linked to my past self and my past presences, and um, I'm kind of responsible for more than I can see because I often get these negative emotions as well, which then drag me back down to my base position where I need to figure out, okay, how do I allow the right emotions and the right thoughts to influence me at this point in time? And that's kind of tricky. So don't be too set back if you're actually experiencing these tricky moments. Everyone does, even though some people say they don't. They just don't like to acknowledge it. That's a possible perspective as well, to not acknowledge negative emotion at all. But I think that's kind of irresponsible, and you kind of have to deal with some negative emotion. It doesn't mean you always have to transform it, but you have to experience it to some degree. And I'd say you don't want to get it too overwhelming. So you want to have a proactive experience, a pro creative experience mainly, where you're just present and you want to bring things into existence that are present and that are good for people, right? So I do believe in the positive outlook, but I do also believe there's some sort of meaning in the negative emotion. Let's say it's some sort of communication from your body and from yourself and from your higher minds, from your future minds, and from your past minds. You're kind of connected like that. So, okay, that's kind of going into much detail, I'd say. So, let's see. Yeah, you can, at step two, you can choose whatever you want to rely on mostly. So, you kind of want to have an anchor point, I'd say, of the main thing you want to rely on. I right now call upon this technology of a time machine being present because it's kind of inevitable that we're going to have some sort of time travel eventually. And why is that not already now? Like, that should also be now. So, I'm trying to speak through this identity of already having the possession over time travel. Which, I don't know, it probably works different than I'm naturally inclined to believe because it doesn't immediately manifest everything I want, but I want to get this guide out to describe to you what really works. So let's not get too philosophical on this point here. Let's go to point three. I'd say the main focus has to be an emotional influence, although it already flows quite creatively with other aspects of the psyche. So you're getting thought images, you're getting voices, perhaps, you're getting all these creative aspects of the mind and of the heart and of the soul in your entire body. You feel these emotions and you kind of feel connected and creative and communicative. And yeah, you mainly want to boil it down to emotional influence at first, I'd say. You can get more creative with other aspects of the psyche, but initially you definitely want to go emotional, I'd say. And I still rely heavily on emotional influence. Like, it's just the biggest influence I know there is, and you kind of need to go big as a human. You kind of need to have big influence, and you can't really uh, work too much on the specifics, I'd say, if you really want to get things done. But that's my personal opinion. Maybe you guys think differently about it, but I'd say emotional influence and big is kind of the way to go. So I've proof of getting up to manipulating my phone through ramping emotional energy and love. I've shown that to you in another clip of mine on my YouTube. And I've proof of influencing interaction with other people through ramping energy and creating my own emotional energies. So know that your perspective matters and your vibration matters. Now, one mistake I made was I kind of relied too much on myself. So I kind of got lost in the sauce and I kind of relied too heavily on myself. Now, there's a coping mechanism for this, and people usually work around it if you're too self focused or self centered. But I'd suggest you don't really want to do that. You want to be aware of other identities and other people, and yeah, be respectful about that as well. Of course, I've always really been respectful, but I kind of wanted too much uh, done at one point in time, and then it kind of got crazy, and I kind of lost my traction there. So yeah, know that your perspective matters and your vibration matters. You first want to be self-centered though, because you're just yourself and you're kind of responsible for your own body first and your own actions first. So you want to be self-centered in that regard. So it's kind of good that I was. But if I had changed things now, I would probably be a little bit more aware of other people and their identities because I think I can handle it, and it's just better to have some contrasting experience with the identities of other people in mind. Um. Okay. Point four. Now see what and who your creative components are. I kind of want to take an upswing in this because I've kind of been a little bit critical, but we really want to make this a fun exercise where we have a lot of potential and a lot of energy flowing and a lot of interaction going on. So you can do this inwardly and you can do it outwardly, because you first want to get yourself in a better mood, basically, to really be conducive with the things around you. So you kind of want to work with the abstractions in your mind, create identities from heightened emotional states where their presence solidifies. So you kind of create these identities and thought objects in your mind you want to interact with, and emotional styles you want to interact with, and all that kind of stuff. And I have to practice my memory in that regard, because I like to interact a lot, I like to create a lot, but then I don't like to memorize a lot. So I need to work on my memory. That's just something that came up for me. But yeah, you can do this all from the comfort of your own home and have success no matter what you focus on. It will just appear in your life, and you, if you practice your emotions right, because you're really connected to the world around you. You know, you're present in the moment, and you could even argue that you're a god because you're the only perspective that really matters to you. But that's a self-centered point again. Now you can kind of transcend that, and through love and higher emotions, you can kind of transcend that and be at peace with one another, and have these ideas of other people in your mind that actually encompass their entire identity, and that kind of relies on each other, and it's kind of difficult to explain sometimes. But yeah, you can also just sit in your own home and occasionally look out the window, and then when you're crafting with these emotional states, and you're crafting with your presence, and you're kind of trying to figure out your right stance and your right creative energies. Creative energy is a pretty good word for it. And emotions, creative emotions. Yeah, you will have, for example, someone look you in the eye on the other side of the street, and you have this special moment that you kind of call creative, and you kind of know that it's because you kind of worked at this exercise of creating your manifestational truth, because you really saw the truth in that moment that really relied on you practicing this exercise. Okay, so I want to stress that it will actually just appear in your life if you practice your emotions right. Now, there are a lot more things than emotions, but emotions are a good base to go with, and that's what I chose. So, if you're also a fan of, for example, having influence on your phone by thoughts and emotions, or creating your emotional influence with other people, then I suggest you choose emotions as the baseline. Choose emotions as the baseline to interact and craft with. Okay, point five. I prefer going big with it, but it's just about finding the right niche. If you understand what I mean, if you're already spiritually inclined, you know that finding the right niche is so important. You kind of want to find that niche of embodying yourself and having your uh, co-creative components active, and you know that that place is your niche where you really want to find yourself, to have a lot of presence and energy and influence over the things around you. And it's just positive at that point. You can't really call it influence because it's like free flowing, and you kind of can influence whatever you want, and you know that others will give feedback on that without putting too much pressure on the subject, and it's just a high flying energy state that's just really positive. It's just really positive overall. So uh, let's see what I wrote down here. If you really find yourself interested in something, then you will want to make some sort of success out of it. yeah, if you're truly interested into something, you can be interested in anything basically. Of course, you gotta obey the rules in life, but you're pretty much free to do whatever you want, right? And of course, most people want to be positive. If you don't want to be positive, I suggest you change your mind about that. But uh, yeah, you just want to create these positive and influential objects of desire and objects of creation. So just be honest with yourself about what you want and adjust this according to your life experience. You will see results. So yeah, the results you sometimes have to push a little bit. At least I do. I sometimes have to push a little bit into my own interest a little bit. So I appreciate everyone for understanding that. Like I kind of need that understanding from other people. Like sometimes I have to push my own energies a little bit to get what I want from life, but it's kind of the traction of creating your own emotions and the traction of amplifying your own emotions is like you're kind of relying on others to keeping the environment stable as well. So now I have that less and less because I really trust in the future and future creativity. So yeah, that's point two again for you. Like, what do you want to rely on? Is it a god or a deity? Do you have a clear vision of this? You really want a clear vision of it because right now I'm trusting on the fact that a future time machine is actually accessible and uh, uh, it can be used already. But I need to solidify that evidence. I need to solidify that presence because I have these scraps of proof, like influence my phone with emotions and thoughts and love, and actually having clear attraction with other people. That's like high emotional, vibrational, active emotions and energies that guide me towards other people. That's what kind of proves it to me as well. And I've had some other occurrences that really describe that future entities are actually playing with us right now, or actually interacting with us is a better word. I say interacting is probably a better word. Um. So yeah, just be honest with yourself about what you want and adjust this according to your life experience. You will see results for sure. If we can do this as a community, guys, I'd be super happy if we could make this like work as a community exercise. It's actually about your manifestational truth. So once you start flying high and start having these great energy interactions with yourself and with others and in your mind and with others, you don't really want to worry too much about whether your thought is conducive to other people, because at some point it will be if you just practice it a lot. Um, so yeah, what do I want to say? I want to say something more. Yeah, like initially you want to make yourself happier, and then once you start being happier and more in a solid place, you kind of want an urge towards the things that you want to have. Like you want to have things outside of yourself. So once you're out of meditation and you follow this exercise, then you will have the urge to go after things that are beyond yourself and objects, for example, or money, for example, wealth. You want to go after. I've had a lot of success with my wealth this month. I had a bunch of cool surprises line up for me. So I had some manifestational influence in that. Of course, it also was due to taking the appropriate physical action, but you don't need to. You don't need to take physical action at all. If you don't want to take physical action at all, I have proof of influencing my phone. Like I said, I have proof of influencing other people to come by, and I didn't need to go anywhere for that. So if you're hesitant about the effects of this spiritual guide, I suggest you try it out anyway. If you're if you got any other questions, guys, let me know in the comments. I will answer. And yeah, I appreciate it a lot for having you guys watch this video. If you watched it to the end, you're doing great. You will have success. I promise you. If you're passionate about this, I've described my proofs. You can look them up on my YouTube if you want to, and you will have success as well. And it's important to backtrack your success as well. Like, you've had special moments in the past where you can relate to having these future entities or these other entities guide you, for example, and you can kind of make it up, right? Because the future is like much more advanced. We can kind of make up our time shift. Like, for example, uh, we can have the one explanation for a certain event and then have it like completely and explained by something else that's kind of differently in another orientation, but it kind of explains the same event through a higher perspective. So these things, they can exist. They can actually exist. So I don't want to. I want to give you some leeway in that regard. Also, I think presence is something that's really powerful. Presence is pretty natural. Um, so I don't think we have to worry too much about death. And we will reincarnate. We will persevere, boys. We will persevere. So yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a good one. See ya.